Well, after months of ads, speeches, and rallies, the voters finally got to have their say.
It was an exciting night at the Iowa Caucuses, and the director of the Marquette Law School poll, Charles Franklin, is back with us with a recap. Let's start with the Republicans. What do you think?
The really interesting thing there is not only does Donald Trump finish in second place, but only a little ahead of Marco Rubio, the third place candidate. What you saw was a lot of discussion about whether new voters would turn out for Trump. And they did. They set records, and he won the new voters. But Cruz won the voters who were experienced and had participated before, a classic example of the ground game and organization beating the image and the big fan club.
And Trump's speech was very subdued.
It was, and his tweets had been initially a little subdued, but he's getting back to his old stuff.
Caught his wind.
And I think the other side is Rubio, as a third place finisher, was still 5 or 6 points ahead of his polling average. So that speaks well for him going forward. Though in New Hampshire, it's other candidates like Kucinich that are also doing better there. So I think the New Hampshire situation's more up in the air. We always see a big scramble between last night and next Tuesday. I'm sure we'll see some shakeups in the race. But the key question is, can Trump hold on to first place there? For him to slip to second or worse in New Hampshire 2 in a row would be very bad, but he starts with a strong lead.
So it's basically a three-man race for the Republicans and a dead heat for the Democrats.
You almost could not have had a closer dead heat. I believe it was 2 delegates difference out of about 1,300 delegates.
That's close.
It is incredibly close, and there may even be some kind of recount. It really doesn't matter except for claiming victory. Now, Hillary Clinton can claim victory, but if there was ever such a thing as a disappointing victory, I think you'd have to say this was it. Such a tight race that clearly is really a tie in all practical purposes. She didn't want to start off this way. On the other hand, Sanders was hoping for a bigger victory, winning by 4 or 5 or 10 percentage, well, 10's exaggerated, but 4 or 5 percentage points. At one point looked like it might be within Sanders' grasp. He didn't quite get there. But again, he goes to New Hampshire with a considerable lead in the polling. It's next door to his home state. But New Hampshire, this is the state that voted for Hillary Clinton over Barack Obama after Obama beat her in Iowa back in 2008.
So with Rubio coming in third, does he draw some of the votes for the mainstream candidates?
I think Rubio has put himself now in the position as the most likely mainstream or establishment candidate. Kucinich, Christie, I'm sorry. I keep mixing that up. 2 different Ohio politicians, but very different. And Christie are both doing pretty well in the polling in New Hampshire. So there's some others that didn't do well in Iowa that may be in a position to do well. But again, we come to, well, voters are going to look and say, who's really the viable candidate here? Who looks like they have what it takes to go on to win the nomination? Not to vote for the winner, but because if you're looking for an establishment candidate, they all look pretty much alike. Which one is really the more viable one?
New Hampshire a week from today. Not a lot of time.
Don't go far, Charles.
Nope.
We'll see you soon.
Can't wait.
All right.